Coming up on this edition of Southwest TV News. Scam artists are constantly coming up with new schemes to steal your hard-earned money and identity. A telephone scam, which is now circulating once again, involves the Canada Revenue Agency. And Swift Current RCMP have been receiving numerous complaints from local residents. The Swift Current Research and Development Center will mark its 100th anniversary in 2020. Employing approximately 130 staff, including 18 research scientists, this facility plays an integral role in agricultural research, not only for the province, but for the world. The signs are up and campaign offices are open, as 4 candidates are running in the Swift Current by-election in hopes of being the next MLA for Swift Current. Thanks for joining us here today. The RCMP are reminding you to not give out your personal information over the telephone, as scams are on the rise. Scam artists are constantly coming up with new schemes to steal your hard-earned money and identity. A telephone scam, which is now circulating once again, involves the Canada Revenue Agency. And Swift Current RCMP have been receiving numerous complaints from local residents.
They're saying they're from Canada Revenue Agency and that the individual they're contacting has a debt with Canada Revenue Agency, otherwise back taxes. In other words, they're using some threatening and aggressive language in order to try and get that person to provide personal information so that they can defraud them. They'll threaten you with deportation, with jail time possibly, or criminal charges, which again, Canada Revenue Agency or any reputable government agency would never do that.
You're reminded that the CRA never makes these types of telephone calls, with notification on your account generally made by mail, and certainly doesn't make threats over the phone, saying that the police are on the way to your door. With the RCMP further reminding you to never give out any personal information over the telephone.
This CRA, or Canada Revenue Agency fraud, always seems to appear this time of the year because it is coming into tax season, so people again feel that it's a valid call on behalf of Canada Revenue Agency, which is not the case.
If you receive these types of telephone calls, RCMP suggests you report them to your local detachment and also call Phone Busters. For over 12 years, Southwest TV News has provided the visuals for the defining moments in our community. Support your community and help us to continue our work. Support our sponsors by watching the ads on YouTube and by clicking the ads on our website. Pennies per click, which will help us continue to bring you the award-winning news coverage you've come to expect from Southwest TV News. The history of the local research station is in the spotlight at the Swift Current Museum. We have more in this report. The Swift Current Research and Development Center will mark its 100th anniversary in 2020, employing approximately 130 staff, including 18 research scientists. This facility plays an integral role in agricultural research, not only for the province, but for the world. The center's unique story is being told through a display at the Swift Current Museum, giving patrons a historical lesson on the facility over the years. Bruce MacArthur is the Associate Director of Research, Development and Technology, and says the center has 2 main areas it focuses on.
Over the years, we've actually developed about 70 different varieties of wheat, durum, and other cereal crops, but primarily just wheat and durum. The other area that we're known as a center of excellence for is for rangeland and forage studies. And we have one of 3 cattle herds in Western Canada. The other 2 are in Alberta. We're the only herd in Saskatchewan and Manitoba. And so we have several different research scientists working on that in terms of developing appropriate forages for the dry land, feed mixes, in order to really help the ranchers improve their productivity with respect to the cattle on the dryland ranges.
MacArthur goes on to explain that the Swift Current Research and Development Center is unique from the other 20 facilities across the country and has adapted with the changing needs of local producers over the years.
I find in terms of the timeline is things like the Swift tomato. Who would have ever thought we would have been doing, development for tomatoes? But back in the day, the station started out to help farmers in the Palliser Triangle, which was known to be a semi-arid area, and it was very local in nature. And so we developed fruit trees for the semi-arid. We developed, obviously, cereals and those kinds of things. Agriculture became more commercial as the farmers got much, much larger. We started to change into more of a regional and national station where we started to really look at very specific crops, very specific problems in terms of dryland farming.
And along with the world-renowned and award-winning agricultural studies at the Swift Current site is the attraction it has for its personnel, who originate from near and abroad. Dr. Alan Iwasa is originally from southern Alberta and welcomed the chance to come and work in Swift Current in 2000 because of the rural flavor of the region and his area in grazing management, and believes displays such as this one at the museum are a great way of engaging the community.
I think sometimes people don't really know what we actually do there for Agriculture Canada. And I think this is a really good opportunity for them just to kind of see the overview of some things that we're actually doing there. So because the purple prairie clover, because of its growth characteristics, we're doing some great things here that have huge implications, not only for the province of Saskatchewan, but for Western Canada and the world. And internationally, we're well recognized as leaders in a lot of our areas.
Mervyn St. Luce is originally from the Dominican Republic and is a research scientist specializing in soil and various crop varieties, and is proud to work at the Swift Current facility because its studies make such a large impact on a global scale.
Even before I came to Swift Current, I knew of research in Swift Current. From Quebec, a lot of the publications that I had to use for my studies came from Swift Current. And Quebec is a completely different environment from here, but we can use some of that information and apply it. We may not get the same impact, but the approach and the results may be you just tweak certain treatments or tweak certain methodologies, but the general idea behind certain things, a lot of them came from Swift Current.
And as the Swift Current Research and Development Center continues to lead its various areas of agricultural studies, the community will be invited later this year to its grand opening of its new state-of-the-art laboratories and administrative offices. The history of the Swift Current Research and Development Center is open to the general public during regular hours at the Swift Current Museum. As the by-election approaches on March 1st, we take a closer look at the candidates running in the Swift Current riding. The signs are up and campaign offices are open as 4 candidates are running in the Swift Current by-election in hopes of being the next MLA for Swift Current. Stephen Rumpel is a familiar face through his employment as a drama teacher at the Swift Current Comprehensive High School and through his work in other drama productions in the community. This married father of 2 is making his first run on the political scene as the candidate for the Saskatchewan NDP and has a number of key issues he's passionate about.
I want to be a loud voice for the people of Swift Current to say we need to worry about our people first. We need to make sure we're supporting them, whether it be through education, whether it be through jobs that we're creating in our province and training, offering those pieces. What we've watched happen is we're going to cut funding to libraries. Everybody then has to be like, no, don't cut funding. Well, they shouldn't do it in the first place if they're listening to people. I mean, it's great that they're listening to people after the fact, but in my mind, government needs to listen first.
Everett Hindley is the Saskatchewan Party candidate and is well known in the provincial political scene as the executive assistant to former Premier Brad Wall. And after years of working side by side with the former MLA and Premier, Hindley is now embarking on his own political aspirations and hopes local residents will vote in his favor come Election Day.
I served a number of years in the constituency office, got to know a lot of folks in the community through that work, and just got to know a lot of the issues. And I'm excited to be part of a Saskatchewan Party team. We have a pretty strong majority in government, and I think it's important to have a representative who's part of that, who can advocate for the issues in this community and advocate for Swift Current at the provincial table.
Maria Lewins has thrown her hat into the ring and is running for the Saskatchewan Green Party in Swift Current. Lewins first entered the political scene in 2016 when she ran for the position of Swift Current mayor. Now representing the Green Party in the by-election, Lewin says she's the best candidate for the job.
We don't have a lot of water in the river, and it's and now we're going to be pumping water out to a new power plant. We're going to have a bunch of new growth, and I don't know if we have the water to sustain it. Like, our reserves are pretty low, and so that's a big concern. So I am concerned about this push for growth because I don't think it's really sustainable. I believe small communities are a lot more sustainable, and even this, we know that oil's not really a sustainable commodity.
The Saskatchewan Liberals will also be represented on the Swift Current ballot, with Aidan Roy of Weyburn as their candidate. Currently working as a pre-service teacher at the University of Regina, Aidan has numerous points he's campaigning on.
Well, coming from rural Saskatchewan, I fight strongly for lowering personal income tax, lowering small business tax, and for supporting our oil and gas sector. When it comes to our economy, we need to apply policies that will stimulate job creation, and following a fiscally conservative agenda is the proper way to do that. In addition, I support our education system greatly. As a pre-service teacher, I can see directly how needed it is to focus on funding education.
Advance polls for Swift Current are scheduled February 23rd through the 27th at the Swift Current Mall, with Election Day set for March 1st. More information on the Swift Current by-election is available online. For over 12 years, Southwest TV News has provided the visuals for the defining moments in our community. Support your community and help us to continue our work. Support our sponsors by watching the ads on YouTube and by clicking the ads on our website. Pennies per click, which will help us continue to bring you the award-winning news coverage you've come to expect from Southwest TV News. Well, this brings to a close another episode of Southwest TV News, reporting the stories that matter to you. We always welcome your news tips. You can always reach us here by phone at our studio or by email to contact us at southwesttvnews.com. Also, be sure to join us daily online for the latest news from across Southwest Saskatchewan and so much more at southwesttvnews.com. And be sure to follow us on a range of social media. Thanks for joining us here today. I'm Carol Andrews.